So now we're in.
You're listening to the Decor8 Podcast with Patrick Ali and Chad Poole.
That's hilarious.
What's up, man?
Try it again.
Round 2. So
what was that, 10 minutes?
We got about 10 minutes in, and I didn't hit the record button.
That's important.
But now I'm good. We're good. Levels are all good now. I got everything together. Let's get our stuff together.
Yeah, let's try this again. I think the first 10 minutes went really well, so we're going to have to backtrack and see if we can repeat that.
What's up, man?
All good, brother. All
right,
good. No, everything's good on my end. Nothing too eventful. Enjoyed the weather this weekend.
Did you get on the boat?
It was a hot one. We did not. We did a little pool day.
When are we going to do a podcast episode from the boat?
Probably, I don't know, Wednesday.
Okay.
So
I'll take Wednesday.
I'm here.
Okay.
Well, I'll be there.
Perfect. Well, listen.
Bring our stuff.
First episode went up on YouTube.
Very exciting stuff.
Pretty exciting. I think that now we get to show off all of our hard work over the last few months. And good news is we got 30,000 views in the first half hour.
All records broken. First video uploaded.
Yep.
What'd you say? A UB? We're gonna get a UB
award.
A UB
for the first the UB award for the first episode, and 29,500 were pretty much your family.
Yeah, so I had a lot of
we appreciate that
gracious support from family and friends and plugs and Facebook and shout outs and
so this is basically the Chad podcast, courtesy of Chad's family.
There was a reason you brought me on, my friend.
That's it. So now that we have that covered, you're out. And you're fired.
Deuces.
No, but it was an eventful weekend, man. I got to tell you really quick what happened. So we had a rainstorm.
It was like a monsoon.
It was like a monsoon. I attributed it to the scene in Jumanji, the original Jumanji,
yes.
Not the new one, the original where the monsoon terrorizes through the house. That's what my basement was like 2.5 months ago. So I was not going to let that happen again. But unfortunately, my power went out. And like I said, I feel like the energy company just basically picks who they want to dump on the grid, and they say, "Oh, they're done." That guy's done. And it happened to be just my house, because actually, funny enough, it was one street to the left and one street to the right, or one street north and one street south from me.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, that was all that was out in my area. So I had to go over to Harbor Freight. Shout out Harbor Freight; they did an awesome job.
Yep.
I had to get a generator. And, I knew how to run basic mechanical equipment. I got a lawnmower, right?
I think they're a little different. I would not know how to run a generator.
I could pull start a car if I needed to, I think.
Yeah.
So I get this. So I get the generator, and I put gas in it because there's a gas cap on the top. Well, after I seized the engine, I realized you need oil.
Oh, my goodness.
So after I took it back and got a new one, thank you, Beth, that works at Harbor Freight, for helping me out.
But does Beth know that it wasn't out of the box?
It was
broken?
Okay.
Really,
it was defective.
Let's throw that wrench in there.
So let's not bring that up.
Just did.
Okay, well, anyways, I saved my basement from a flood again. I feel like a hero. I wore a cape the rest of the day. Yes, the cape was a beach towel.
Well, you're super dad, man.
But that's besides the point. I feel like it sometimes.
I would consider you a hero just because of the lack of AC without power. So
it was bad. I mean, it was out from 2 to 6. So it was out a good 4 hours, 4.5 hours before we actually got power back. And it's like this. You realize, the funny thing is when you have kids, 'cause you have kids too. So you realize a family that runs on technology and everything in my house is a smart everything. So
is a smart
thermostat, Wi-Fi's hooked up to everything. When that goes out, it's like a total loss of another human being in the house.
I mean, I told my wife before we had our kid, I'm like, my kid's going outside, no iPads, no TV. That lasted about 4 months.
My daughter has an iPad. She just turned 2 months old. So
well, don't put any ideas out there, please.
Okay, sorry. Anyways, but yeah, so I felt like this, savior of sorts because I got it all fixed. But all in all, nothing got ruined. My kid's playroom is right next to the sump pump because obviously I'm okay with their toys getting ruined first. My tools are next to it, and then that's it. So we're good.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So eventful weekend.
Probably tweaked my back. doing. That's why I'm glad I'm sitting in a chair right now, so you can't see.
Okay.
So, anyways, I want to really quick to wrap up the last few episodes.
Yeah.
Because we went on, a 3-episode tyrant of how to start a business.
There's a lot of information.
A ton of information, and I think it's just good to wrap it up, come to a conclusion on it.
C'est la vie.
Yeah, we'll hit these points really quick. So setting up a social media was one of the biggest things that we talked about. Social media allows you not only to get your products out there fast for a practically free, unless you want to pay for promotions and stuff, but also allows you to then step into that e-commerce realm.
Sure.
At some point in time. So, and then, one thing that you talked about was obviously creating a business account.
Yeah. So you don't want to be too tied down, but I think it's important to be creative about your business name. Make sure you research and that there's not other business names that are.
What was your business name again? Chili Teas?
Chili Teas.
Was it Chili Teas?
No, I'll have to explain this, I guess. All right, so I used to have an LLC, and we ran it for about 1.5 years, 2 years, and then I had a partner, and that partner just so happened to move. So once it was just all on me, it just became too cumbersome. So, but the way we decided our business name was we kept going back and forth with the generics. We call it C&J Printing or I don't know, JC.
The generic catchy.
What's your business?
Forever Cherished Designs.
Yeah, like something like that. I don't know, whatever, something really basic. Shout out Forever Cherished.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Love you, honey.
But no, we were eating lunch and we couldn't nail it. We were going back and forth, and we just so happened to be eating chili cheese fries. Mm-hmm. So Chili Cheese Teas LLC was born.
I love it so much.
Yeah. So it's kind of tenfold because people look at that and they're like, "What the hell is that?" Like,
you have to investigate.
I already knew nobody else had that name.
Right.
Nobody else is that smart.
Right. I believe it.
But no, it was fun. We tried to make it fun. We tried to make it original.
Yeah.
We had a little pepper guy on a wheel of cheese as our logo.
You ate a whole wheel of cheese, Baxter. Yeah. I'm not even mad. I'm impressed.
Yeah. So we tried to be different, and in that way, we actually did stand out. By being different, not being generic. Whether it was standing out in a good way or bad way, I still can't tell you. But that was Chili Cheese Teas.
I like it, and it worked for you. And so, creative business model. Obviously, the kind of creative marketing. You can have create a social platform built around that. Yep. And then we also talked about, or we wanted to talk about, anyways, and just briefly touch on like payment methods.
Yep. Yeah, so there's a couple different ways. We were an LLC, and reason being is we ran everything out of my house in my basement. So for whatever reason, if there was any copyright infringement or anything like that, you're a little bit more protected on your assets of where you're actually running the business from. But honestly, we could have just been a DBA, just a regular business, just because we didn't run anything copywritten or run the risk of that. But I think we paid the extra $150 and went LLC. But it is important to register whether you're DBA, LLC, and get yourself established. That way, you can also accept payment and decide what you want to do at the end of the year with taxes, write-offs, et cetera, et cetera.
Now, did you have an accountant that you kind of worked with, or did you come in knowing a little bit about it?
No, we actually did everything through TurboTax, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yep. So that's probably where we screwed up.
That's why
owed a bunch of money. I'm just kidding. We didn't know anything.
Lost a lot of chili cheese that year. Well, the nice thing is, too, when you talk about payment methods, there's two different ways that you can do it. A lot of people do cash. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's just kind of the nature of the beast.
Cash is king. I'll take cash all day.
Cash is king. Most people that work, in like random Facebook marketplaces, most towns or counties or whatever have those. Mm-hmm. Or you might have a neighborhood app that you're selling your product through or whatever it is. You can do cash or you can do payment. And one of the best places that I've ever used is Square.
That's what we had, too. I believe.
I like Square only because you have an online platform. You can also build a store through Squarespace. And Squarespace has a free store setup that you can do. They have some, it's very limited to like product that you can, listing types and stuff like that.
Sure.
And you pay a premium for it, but it helps organize a Square at the end of the year for anybody that is forming an LLC and wants to make sure that they're doing the right thing by their tax accountant or TurboTax, however you decide to do it. But Square is nice because they'll actually get you a 1099 at the end, or 1098, whatever it is, at the end of the year.
And it tracks everything for you. So
100%.
that's pretty cool.
So you don't have to worry about it. You can put in all of your, the nice thing is too, we have like all of our generic sign sizes, shirt sizes. So I can go and click in all of that stuff. And then at the end of the year, they'll actually give me a breakdown of my profit, because I can put my cost in there as well. So it'll actually show me my yearly profit and stuff too.
I was definitely not using Square the right way.
You probably
or this is the premium.
We paid a little premium for it. And I can't remember exactly how much it is, but we pay a little premium for it, and we can actually organize it. But I'm very organized. I like to be organized with that kind of stuff anyway, just because at the end, I'd rather take an hour and a half to set it up today and then not have to worry about it the rest of the year, and it's going to do it all for me.
Yeah, I think it's important to be organized, especially when it comes to money.
Well, and we've already found out too that I'm not organized with the way that I actually
your everyday life.
My everyday life.
Yeah.
So one or two things are fine. We found out I keep just a box of T-shirts, and if I'm missing one, good thing I got a distributor that's quick.
That's it. No, the one thing I did like about Square is we were able to then travel. Yeah. So a lot of times what our customer base used to do, I'm saying used to do because the new normal, right? We're not back yet, but there was a lot of times where people would go to baseball tournaments or hockey tournaments, and you could just bring a craft cutter or even a Roland GX24 or a Graph-Tac and a smaller heat press, and to do customization of hoodies or jerseys. You bring the screen printed transfer, digital transfer of whatever the logo is. Bring that as a stock, so you stock up 50 transfers or whatever, and then you can customize on demand, and you can pay on demand. Yeah, very profitable way of doing business is remote and going location to location. So that was kind of unique about the Square too.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. And then we even put on here, best of luck. That's it.
See you later.
That's all we
gave you every tool.
We gave you everything. I mean, you can reach out to us. Like, you can reach out to us on social, and we'll kind of explain it to a little bit more.
Yeah, 100%. No,
just send you a clip to an episode.
and everything that we've given you is probably minuscule to everything else you can do on your own research. But at the same time, we hope that we did give some good ideas and ideas to grow your market and how to choose the right equipment, payment methods, et cetera, everything we've gone over these past 2 episodes. But best of luck. See you later.
Best of luck. You want to say it on 3? 1, 2, 3.
Best of luck.
From the Decor8 Podcast.
Well, let's talk about chili cheese.
Let's get into some stuff. I'm excited.
Why are you excited?
I have to say that I'm excited because we have our first official guest on.
We sure do.
And I've been avoiding eye contact so that I don't mention her while we're doing the first few minutes of the podcast.
Yeah.
What's going on, Lily?
We've got Lily.
No. Lily from Caesar.
Hello.
Woo! Took my earbuds out, so I'm going to cut it off.
Sorry.
There we go. Sorry.
It was good for a minute.
It was good while it lasted. That's cool. What's going on? How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Thank you for doing this again. We did do a little recording beforehand, and we realized that there was so much to talk about that we have to just.
We realized I was so interesting, and you just needed more time with me.
That's it. That's exactly it.
That we were also very worried that. Hey, we recorded all of this content. Let's just scrap it. She's got free time.
She's got free time. Well, we'll
just re-record.
You were nice enough to do this again.
No, thank you.
Even though your desk is, I will mention, 40 feet away from this door.
It's right
but
over
we
there.
appreciate you taking.
Well, I think she does other things too. We're going to talk about that.
Let's talk. Let's just get in. Let's get into it.
All right.
So, want to know how you even just explain from start to finish, how you even got into this world that we're in right now.
Okay, yeah. So I definitely didn't have a whole lot of industry knowledge before I started at Caesar. I didn't really know that heat transfer vinyl existed.
Yeah.
I knew I liked decorated T-shirts. I knew screen printing was a thing. I think most people know about that. But once you get into the vinyl, that was new for me. But basically at the time, I had just finished graduating from community college. I went to school for journalism, communications journalism. So writing was heavily my thing. That's where I'm good. And I was just looking for a job that would let me write mostly, but then also wanted to be creative as well because I grew up, my My mom's a seamstress. She still runs her own sewing business.
Wow.
She does alterations and makes custom things
Shout
for
out
people.
Lily's mom.
What's up?
Hi, Mom. I'm sure she's going to watch.
She better.
I can't have all the Chad's family watching.
Yeah, no, it'll be all my family now, so for
That's
sure.
cool.
But
No.
she definitely instilled that like love for crafting and love for fabric and everything, and taught me how to sew. I taught myself how to knit. So I was just like applying for jobs at the same time that I was working as a tutor / receptionist. I had a lot of downtime in between students, so I would look for jobs. And at the same time, I was also working at Joann Fabrics.
Oh.
So I was having fun there. You know, I was always interested in people's projects, and you would just get to know customers, and they'd come back and they'd show you things they made, and it was so cool. So to find something that kind of melded both of my passions together was really sweet.
Yeah.
But I was also very nervous coming in to interview here because it felt like
This is the big time.
this was going to be like my big girl job.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Is this your big break?
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, it was either you're going to go back to school and you're going to get another degree and figure out, another pathway that way, or you're going to get a full-time job.
Now, were you originally, when you graduated, was the intention to get into journalism? Or was it just anywhere that you could
It was
write?
the closest thing I could have to I thought I was going to be an author or something. So it was the closest thing to that. But then I did kind of enjoy, reporting on the news.
Yeah.
And I did an internship for a local newspaper.
Nice.
I just knew that news is, they even told you then, it's dying, Or it's not dying, it's revitalizing
Internet is
in a
here.
new way.
Stuff
Yes.
that we're doing right now. I mean, just podcasts all over the place, and I think even radio, XM radio. I think a lot of that's kind of taking on, because you can have more long form conversations.
And so much of the news is sad.
Yeah.
And I don't like being sad. So I love doing like the general interest pieces, or I would go and I would talk to a professor and do a deep dive on them and how they got there and stuff. I enjoyed the more lighthearted things.
Yeah.
Sure.
So to be able to come into something like this where it's crafty and creative and you kind of get to pick your attitude and your perspective on it every time, of course we're going to be happy and positive all the time. So that's what's great about
What was
Caesar.
your role at Joann's? Like, what did you do?
I was just a general employee, so
Okay.
I restocked things, I cut stuff, I ran a register, nothing special.
Oh, okay, gotcha. That's nice.
Well, there's a lot of customer interaction there too.
Yeah.
So you're probably, like you said, people are bringing your
I
ideas and
did
stuff
miss
like
the customers and getting to see what they were, because they would inspire you too. You'd be like, oh, I never thought about putting those two together or to make that. But then I got called in for an interview here. Did that with Keith and Johan.
That's what I want to talk about a little bit. That's interesting.
We got some information.
No, in all honesty though, I did want to ask you. So your career's taken you from Joann's to you did a big internship, community college. Why Caesar? How Caesar? What was the process like? What was the interview process like? I know Johan can be a little intimidating sometimes, and I have no problem saying that. How did you start, and how did you learn so fast? Because the reason I asked this is I was told that you were pushed pretty hard in the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I think that you were pushed hard because they saw major potential in not only you and what you do, but also your ability to adapt and learn and stuff like that. So how did you hear
that's
about
so sweet.
Caesar, and what was that process like of coming in, interviewing it? And this, like you said, this is a big, this is your career now.
yeah.
So like, this is, no offense to Joann's, but this is not Joann's. This is a whole different world. Like you said, screen printing versus HTV. So kind of talk about your experience a little bit there.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely intimidated coming into it. I was just thinking I'm going to do my best, and I always look at everything as, a learning experience. So I was like, even if I don't get this interview, at least I went in and I brushed up on my interview skills,
Sure.
and gave it my best shot, and I can put that in my tool belt and come at it again later. But I really didn't think I was going to get a job offer.
Oh, okay.
So
That's interesting.
I mean, I came in with my intern articles, and it was like, here, I don't have a lot of experience, but like, if you give me a chance, I promise you, I will not let you down.
That's
and
awesome.
That's what's up.
Even afterwards, I remember the thing that they told me that kind of made me stand out, and I tell this to everybody now. This is your interview tip, y'all. You need to write a thank you note. I sent them a handwritten thank you card just for giving me the opportunity, for allowing me to come in and meet them. And I was like, I really think, based off of who your customer base is, what I've looked into about your company, that we would be a good match. and I understand if you're not willing to take that risk right now, but if you are, I'm your girl.
That's awesome.
like that.
That's super sincere too. So how long ago was that?
4 years ago.
Wow, 4 years here already.
Well, and I think it's interesting too, is because you did have, in essence, you had something to fall back on. You still had that opportunity to get.
I enjoyed both my jobs I was working at right then.
Sure.
It was, it's kind of no risk for me.
Yeah.
But it was scary.
Do you feel like that makes it easier going into an interview though? If like you feel like you don't really have a lot of risk, going in, that if I don't get this job, then I'm going to be, broken homeless the rest of my life?
Yeah, I mean, it puts your mind a little bit more at ease. But I think also a big part of me, wanted to know, did I really come off as what I thought? I thought I would be a good employee, but I want you to think I would be a good employee. Sure. So it was very affirming to even just get the job offer.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, man.
So what was your role when you got hired, or is it the same?
It's changed.
Okay.
So the position that was open at the beginning was a copywriter.
Okay.
And they basically just needed someone to kind of help take the brunt of the work off of Keith, because Keith was doing everything.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. Keith is great.
Yeah.
He can do everything. But
Shout out, Keith.
Yeah.
Shout out to you, Keith. I love you.
He actually just sent me my email signature was broken, so it had all of our social on there. You just couldn't click on any. They were just little symbols. So,
nice.
He was like, "Yeah, you should probably fix that." I didn't even reach out to him. I just got an email of, "Here you go."
Always
so,
thinking ahead,
shout out Keith for sure.
Yes.
So, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but yeah, you were saying so. Initially, copywriter.
Initially, I just came on basically to help write things for the website, product descriptions, stuff for the brochure, and a large chunk of it was going to be the Caesar blog. Keith and Joe had kind of both written different things on there, but they don't have a background in writing as much as I do, and I'm very grammatical. I'm kind of like an editor as well. So it's like whatever's been written gets run past me, and then I'll make some changes, and then it's really good to go out usually.
Well, I know Patrick wants to hit on the blog later for sure.
For sure.
So you started off copywritten, and I guess the reason I asked this is, I was always told growing up, there's one way into the pool, and the stairs ain't one of them. So by saying you're pushed pretty hard, right?
Right. So
Johan said, "Here, learn this."
Johan gave me, I think it was the Cameo 2 at the time, Silhouette Cameo 2, and I had a little laptop, and he basically left me alone with that and said, "Have fun."
Have fun. And by the way, you're probably going to go on a trade show soon, right?
Also prepare yourself because you're going to be traveling. It was like, oh, okay.
What was your first trade show that you got sent into?
It was SGIA.
Okay, so a bigger show.
And it was in Las Vegas. And it was my first time in Las Vegas and my first time at a trade show. And that was just like mind blown.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you've got to experience that. And Patrick and I have traveled. I've traveled quite a bit, especially when I was doing tech support. I would go for installs and repairs. Yeah. So it was taxing to say the least. But when I first started and I was doing trade shows too, it can be a little nerve wracking your first time out there on the road. And so like, were you set up with like a rental car? Checking into a hotel, like all that stuff is, if you've never done it, it's.
I'm still very young.
Yeah.
Still can't really get a rental car.
Yeah.
So I was not hooked up with one of those. Luckily, we were traveling as a group.
Okay.
Johan didn't put me on my own until like a year or two after, in which I did a lot of traveling by myself and meeting up with distributors, which was a whole nother year of growth differently.
Yeah.
But yeah, he really enjoys pushing me and watching me grow. But I have to be so thankful because I think that was the best way, A, to learn the cutters, and B, just the best way to approach everything, really,
100%.
is just
I agree
to
with
grow.
that.
Who was your travel buddy at first?
Who did I travel with? Oh my gosh.
Well, if it was SGIA, I'm imagining that Johan was probably there.
A lot of people.
Well, there was a lot of people there, but I was trying to think of who I stayed in a room with.
I see what you're saying.
Johan was there, Brett was there, Kathleen, Tracy, Danielle. I think Tracy and I shared a room. Tracy and I have been really close since we both started here.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
That's awesome, though. And so you go to SGIA. What's your first thoughts walking through like the trade show floor? Because if anybody doesn't know, that hasn't been to a trade show, like when you walk to the trade show floor, that's a culture shock in itself. Of just everything in the industry kind of hits you at one time, and it's all in one big place.
Yeah, it was definitely intimidating, but also just really exciting because I'd been kind of been told about all of this equipment and stuff for the past couple months, and I'm trying to envision how things work, and I was excited to finally see it in front of me, the whole process, or be able to talk to, you know, our reps or, you know, our distributors, people that I hadn't actually got to meet in person yet. So I think, I mean, honestly, always for trade shows, I'm just really excited.
Yeah.
I love to do them.
That's awesome.
We all do.
And I wish we were still doing them.
Where do you think?
That's a good question. Where do you think trade shows are going? What do you think's going to happen now?
Well, everything's definitely online right now, and just the shows that were this year are contacting me about how to be involved on their online different classes that they're doing and stuff like that. So I think for the most part, we're probably stuck in a Zoom land sort of type thing. But I know we're all anxious to get back at it, and as soon as we can, we will. Yeah,
it's interesting because a similar experience when I first started here. It was like, okay, I started in September, and they say, okay, well, Brett told me you're not going to start traveling until probably the beginning of the year, you know, but expect a ton of travel. Well, it was like I started in September. October, I was like already at my first small.
Oh yeah, you were gone.
Yeah, I was gone.
Lies,
really early.
Lies, Brett.
No, yeah, I was gone really early
You're
on.
like, here's Patrick, he's leaving.
Yeah. I don't even think I got a chance to meet everybody in the office. And he's like, hey, by the way, we're shipping you off.
Yeah.
You're going down to Ohio. You're going to Long Beach. You're going here. So it was really interesting. It's definitely a shock to the system when you first get into traveling. But it's also really cool, too, because the relationships I think you build on the road, whether it's internal, like in the office, but also external with everybody that's there, is really, really cool to learn from other people and understand how other people operate. Did you have anybody that you kind of, whether in the trade show circuit or just, you know, social media platform, because you handle our Instagram, for anybody that doesn't know, you handle our Instagram or Caesar blog. Is there anybody that you kind of, you know, met with or got together with that you still keep in contact or maybe bounce ideas off of?
I think there's a lot of inspiration to be had all over, but there's definitely like one person that comes to mind. And her and I just immediately clicked when we met, and we did a couple different shows together where I worked in her booth. So Lisa Potts.
Okay.
Shout out Lisa Potts.
Lisa Potts Designs, right?
Lisa Potts Designs.
Okay.
So she was at the Rhinestone World, and now she's kind of off doing her own thing, and good on her. She's got a Glow Forge and is doing some pretty cool stuff. So
that thing's awesome.
Glow Forge.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not familiar.
It's like a
laser cutter.
Desktop laser cutter.
Yeah,
desktop. Interesting.
It's awesome.
I'm gonna have to take a look at that.
It's actually a decent price point too.
Interesting. Very interesting. I'm going to have to take a look at that.
Go check it out.
We might have to get into it.
Well, speaking about that, what are some trends you're seeing right now in the market? So obviously, and I want to backtrack a little bit because we were talking about the trade shows and the future of them and what they look like. And unfortunately, we're just all in the situation to where it's just a lot of uncertainty, really.
Right.
Yeah.
But from my understanding, during this pandemic, you know, we had a stay-at-home order for a long time. You kind of switched, not necessarily roles, but you had a bit more involvement in...
You got to switch gears a
little
bit.
I had a lot of free time created because of that. All of a sudden, ISA was halted, and all my prep for Printing United, which formerly was SGIA and now it's Printing United, all of that got stopped too. Yeah. So we basically just hit hard on our social media, and Johan asked if I would do a live every day on our Instagram. And
talk about that.
Okay.
Is that, I was going to say, like stuff like that. That's the push, right? Yeah. So is that intimidating to jump on a live and, you know?
I mean, it was more intimidating just because I hadn't done it from home yet, really.
Okay.
So I had to figure out my home setup, clean up my little corner of the room and make it look nice, and get that going. Where usually, you know, I can rely on Rob to kind of do some stuff when we're here in the studio.
Shout out Just Rob.
Just Rob, what's up?
When I forget things, I'm like, hey, Rob, what did we forget? Like, and now I'm like asking my cat, hey, Mimi, what did we forget?
Yeah, your cat's become famous.
Yes.
Over this time. Are you gonna seriously do an Instagram or no?
Probably not.
Come on, you have to.
Oh my goodness.
I can't. And I was just as soon as you said doing a live every day from home, I rolled my eyes because I can't imagine having to come up with something new every single day.
Yeah.
Like I come up with something new maybe once and never.
Yeah.
But coming up with something every single day to
it might not have been completely new because I have been here for 4 years.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I do have some stuff. Sometimes there's projects that just never come to fruition here, and that just happens. So sometimes there's things I've had stored away, or there's something that you haven't seen in 4 years, and I'm just going to bring it back because maybe you forgot, or maybe you weren't following us 4 years ago. So at the beginning, I was really just pulling old stuff and recreating it or putting it on something new. But there was definitely a couple weeks where I was just like
grasping for straws.
Who knows what we're doing? Not me.
Yeah. Well, and that's funny because it is intimidating. But one of the things all three of us talked about beforehand was, trade shows. We're not the only ones that are in this stay at home, this pandemic,
right.
and everything else. So everybody's affected by this, whether it's financially, personally, business related, etc.
Yeah.
I think just by having an interaction with our customers, Caesar customers during those lives, I think you had even mentioned it. It probably makes them feel like somewhat
I think it was good
normal
for both of us.
Right.
It felt like just a nice little. We always just had a noon chat.
Yeah.
How are you? How am I? What's going on?
Did they ever bring or make suggestions or bring any content to you for future videos, or were you able to learn from? I've learned some of the most important things in this industry from my customers. So I'm curious if they had that type of interaction with you.
Yeah, there was definitely moments. I think I can't remember now, honestly, anything really specifically, but there was, moments where they threw out a tip, and I'm like, that is a good idea. So I'm going to say that again for the people who didn't hear it in the back.
Yeah.
Try
shout
this
outs
out.
And
or
that probably makes them feel good, right?
Yeah. I think people, most of the time have really great suggestions. So for sure, I think I learned some from them, and they hopefully learned something from me.
Well, there's different stages. I feel like, when you go on our side, when you go into trade shows, you realize that this industry as a whole is not this big scary beast, right? That you can't learn from anybody. You can't interact with anybody. People aren't looking across the aisle at each other like waiting to fight, in the parking lot or whatever. But it's also more so for the small crafters, or even the people that have established companies that are always looking to invent or recreate something, or just come up with organic ideas through inspiration. Now that separates that fourth wall for you, is that you're not part of this big scary organization of Caesar, because we get that all the time. I do some of the infos, which anybody that reaches out to us, they have problems with their HTV, or they have, we all do support type roles as well. But it kind of breaks down that and makes you more of a human being, that, I'm not working for this big organization and everything is staged and fixed, and it's you can be a real human being if you screw up, like the gator that you just did on your live. Like one piece of it needed to be added in there, but that shows you as a human being, and it shows a company as a human being. So
I definitely think the human factor is helpful, and everyone makes mistakes, and honestly, that was sometimes better when I would make a mistake, because it's like, okay, here's how you come back from that. Here's how you could fix this. Like, it's not all lost. Don't turn into a puddle of tears. There's always a way to turn it around.
100%.
That's really interesting, because I've never made a mistake in my life.
So, okay.
Well, we can't all be perfect.
Well, let's just say we wasted about 200 yards of this wall wrap before we got this. So.
At least it was my printer. No, that's no. I think it is important. I think it's funny that you mentioned it does humanize us, and our customers are just like us. We screw up all the time. I like you said, I probably wasted 5 yards on this stuff by not tiling it a certain way.
I said 200, but yeah,
that's a lot of money. Hopefully
thinking.
I didn't do that, but no. But you think about that. Okay, so now you're talking about material, you're talking about ink, you're talking about time you've wasted. But we're all human. We all make mistakes, and we all learn from that. And I think it's cool that you do it on a live, or you just said the gator. That's it shows that we're all in this together, and it's not out of the norm to screw something up. That's for sure.
That's for sure.
Yeah. I think I was definitely. I still get nervous about going to go live. It's like theater nerves still, kind of, because I was a musical theater performer as well. So you just get that kind of like intense excitement, nerves, and then once you get going, it's all good.
Yeah,
it's
fun.
What was your favorite? What was your favorite play and or musical that you did? See. Because I did theater as well.
I could tell.
I did a lot of Shakespeare, and that holds like a deep place in my heart.
Okay.
I played Beatrice in Much Ado About Nothing.
Okay.
And that was one of my favorite shows.
Nice.
But musical-wise, I was the queen in Once Upon a Mattress. If you guys don't know what that is, it's basically The Princess and the Pea. But changed up a little bit. And my brother played the prince, so he was my son.
Oh, nice.
That's hilarious.
So we have these great pictures of me just like pulling my brother around by the collar, like all angry.
Awesome.
He'll never live that down.
No.
That's awesome.
I'm going to bring him back up on Facebook soon.
You said, too, that your brother does some graphic design in, like, the Traverse area, too, right?
Yeah. I don't know if we can get in.
Go
if we
for
can
it.
say it. Okay.
Plug it all.
My brother works in Traverse City for Britain Banner.
Okay.
They're a cool little banner company up there, and right now they've retooled their line, so they're making disposable hospital gowns and, like, hand washing stations.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so he's luckily been kept busy, although doing slightly different, because he actually is a graphic designer. So
do you ever bounce ideas off of him too, or?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah,
we both actually will shoot things back and forth to each other, and then his wife is a tattoo artist, so she's also very creative.
She's a tattoo artist.
Yeah. So I'm just like, hey guys.
Now I know who's doing my Decor8 Podcast tattoo.
That's your Decor8 Podcast tattoo.
You're not gonna get one?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
No, I actually had a question. Before we break, I had a question because you posed a really interesting question to Lily, and I have to know now, what is your favorite musical or play that you've done?
Oh, yes.
So, okay.
And I also have one too, by the way, when you're done.
Okay, so we did Rent. We were the first high school to do Rent in Michigan, which was very controversial at the time, but very cool to do.
For sure.
And then I also did like Wizard of Oz. I'll give you a guess on what character it was in The Wizard of Oz. Everybody's going to guess.
Well, of course, you're the Cowardly Lion.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Okay.
Duh. Yep. I was actually Dorothy, but that's cool.
Toto.
So Rent, Wizard of Oz, and then we did Around the World in 80 Days. We did basically a musical version of it, and it was pretty cool too. So I did not play Jackie Chan. Just throwing it out there.
Interesting. No, that's cool.
Rob knows the buttons for the drop, so he just knows which one to push.
That's hilarious.
So yeah, my favorite one was Rent, though.
So I was in 3rd or 4th grade at the time, and I don't know. The only reason I know this is the only musical thing I've ever done, besides my mom making me try out for Beauty and the Beast live on Broadway.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That's a big step.
Well, I was going to be Chip, but they went with someone else. I swear to God.
That's awesome.
I was not close to getting Chip, but I did audition. So it was 3rd or 4th grade, and for whatever reason, I didn't even remember what the play was about, but they were playing so hard on the O.J. Simpson trial.
Oh, wow.
I was Johnny Cockroach. And I don't even know what the play was, but instead of Johnny Cochran, I was Johnny Cockroach.
I like that.
That was my claim to fame.
And this is
look where it brought me.
This is in 4th grade.
Look where it brought
Sounds
me.
like a heavy topic for 4th grade.
Oh, yeah. I think it was very adult-driven.
You got people dying of AIDS in mine. He's got Johnny Cochran and OJ.
Yeah, you know. So I just thought you guys brought up the musical stuff.
I like it. It was good.
Yeah. So.
It was good. That's actually how I realized I was kind of tied in. It's Small World is that I almost went to school for performing arts in California. Shout out Young Americans School of Performing Arts. They're awesome. And Melissa lives in the same area.
That's hilarious.
Yep.
So when Melissa and we talked about it, and she's like, wait a minute, I live
she knows exactly what you're
12
talking
minutes
about.
from there, so it was awesome.
That's funny.
Pretty cool. So let's, you want to do a quick break? And
Let's
then we'll come
break.
back and go to the rest of this stuff?
We got some more stuff to ask you.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Alrighty. We'll be right back. The Decor8 Podcast is brought to you by Caesar North America. Caesar North America is the industry leader in heat transfer vinyl and pressure-sensitive vinyl. Guys, listen, I use Caesar products in all of my stuff for my personal business, and I'll tell you, the quality as well as longevity is simply unmatched. Now, to find out more about Caesar HTV, download the Caesar North America app available in the App Store and Google Play. Also, don't forget to hit the drop-down menu and select Find a Distributor to find the closest authorized Caesar distributor near you. All right, we're back.
We're back.
For anybody that somehow missed the first 35 or 40 minutes of this thing, we're hanging out with Lily, just to recap.
Yeah.
But let's hop into it for real. I want to talk about Instagram, and I want to talk about the Caesar blog. So Instagram, you just kind of took that over as you came in and started working with the Instagram, and that's kind of been like your wheelhouse, or at least from what I've seen, is that's been your wheelhouse a lot of the social or live social platform.
Yeah, so when I first started, I didn't fully take it over. Joe was still kind of running everything, and I was just sort of learning the ropes.
Yeah.
Getting an idea for the feel of what the Caesar voice was, what, how we usually put things out there. And then it did come to a point where it was like, okay, Joe's getting pretty busy doing all of his travel and extra videos for distributors and stuff like that. And so it kind of fell to me to pick up the majority of the content.
Yeah.
And I really like it.
Yeah.
So you you just have to start.
Yeah.
I think that's the hardest
Just
thing.
jump
That was
in.
hard for me at first with both the blog and Instagram. I was so self-critical over every little thing, every little picture, every little, part of it. And people really don't notice all that stuff.
We're always our own worst critics, especially with decorating things.
For sure.
And, but I could imagine on a bigger platform like a lot.
And then it was like, well, I can't let Caesar down, because
right.
this is the brand, So that was definitely intimidating. But like you said, nobody noticed. Nobody called me out on it or anything like that. Yeah. And you just keep going and you just keep improving. Like at this point, you look at our feed now compared to, like 3 years ago. And at least I think that it is greatly improved.
I think we all think you did a good
That's
job.
good.
And you continue to do a good job.
I hopped down like earlier in the feed just to kind of see the progression of where we've come from. And that's to speak volumes of yourself and also marketing team and everybody that's involved for sure.
Caesar as a whole.
But Caesar as a whole. But there also is a part of that I think is super important because as, I think it's Facebook, Instagram, whatever platform, they're almost like a full-time job to build a brand. But you also have to kind of stay cognizant of your brand within the brand. Because I think that you've kind of been able to build yourself just like, Jenna at Stalls or, she has her stuff too. You're able to, build yourself or build your own brand. So kind of talk about how you go about doing that because you're coming from a new platform. You're going to Instagram, trying to make sure you're conveying the voice, but you're also trying to build your own content that makes sense, that people are going to recognize you. So I imagine you get recognized at shows by now.
Yeah, I do at shows, especially once I started doing the YouTube videos, and then we usually have the YouTubes kind of running on the monitors behind us in our trade show booth, and people will go, "Oh, you're the girl from, YouTube." And it's like, "Oh, yeah, there I am back there." So
super famous.
Woohoo, yeah. But I think a lot of it is just staying like true to yourself.
Yeah.
And just not trying to compromise on that because like people realize when you're being like not genuine.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I love purple. So half the stuff I do or wear is purple, and I love plants and cats and whatever. And you know what? So do some of our followers. Not all of them love plants and cats. And some of them, love drums and rock and roll. And Joe has kind of made his little, niche in that kind of area. And I think it's just us kind of highlighting sections of our personality and also just being warm and approachable. I think both Joe and I are definitely me. I'll tell you every time I'm in an airport, random people are talking to me. Anywhere I travel or I walk in a store, it's like, oh, she looks nice. I could probably ask her a question. So, but that's important too.
Good. And then building off of that into like the Caesar blog. Now, was the Caesar, but you said that Joe and
blog.
I'm
gonna call you out on that.
Thanks. She's
I was going to, but she did it first.
The Caesar blog.
The blog.
Anyways, God. This is gonna be a rip. It's going to be a rip fest for me for the rest of my life. I should have never started this podcast.
The new name
So
of the Caesar Brawl.
I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Anyways, all right, listen, Linda. So going from Instagram to the Caesar blog, early on, is that something that is established? Is that something that you because you said Keith and Joe were doing some stuff.
Yeah.
But like what we know today, was that just you kind of diving in and just throwing it all out there on paper?
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the blog is honestly where I felt more comfortable because I could go back and edit myself.
Yeah.
I can write it down and then I can go back in and go, oh, that didn't sound quite right. I'm going to say it like this. So when we moved over to YouTube videos and I had to let the words come out of my mouth naturally, like you said, act natural. It was like, okay, here is the things
What do
that
I do
you
with my
need
hands?
to know.
Oh, you mean there was nobody to call you out when you made mistakes on a podcast? Yeah, cool. Good talk. That's funny.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, but you just kind of had to jump in there, and I took all my own pictures and was making our own graphics and stuff like that. And I definitely learned along the way which ones I thought were terrible and which ones I liked to stick with.
Well, that's going back to your roots too, right?
Yeah.
It's writing. So you're
writing, and I had like just very small amount of photography training, like one class and like one class in graphic design. So I was somewhat familiar, but like definitely not an expert by any means to be like jumping in there and making these amazing cut files, but
on the job training.
Yeah, for sure.
That's good. I think that's always the best anyway.
Definitely.
I was very early on, it was more of a, well, figure it out and you'll hopefully learn something. And if you don't, we're going to probably put you somewhere else so you can learn something else because this isn't working. So, no, that's not how it goes at all. You want to jump into some segments really quick?
Yeah. Cool.
So,
we have 3 new segments for our listeners, for our wonderful following.
Yes,
the first
all 30,000.
Yeah, that's it. The first one we're going to introduce is something called This or That. Ooh. So we are going to continuously put up polls for our listeners to decide this or that. And what the idea behind the segment is I'm going to propose 2 different things to you guys, and I want your opinion on them. It's not necessarily a debate. If you guys want a fist fight, I'm in Lily's corner for sure.
Okay.
But
I got the ring.
Yep.
Oh, wait, so do you, dang.
No, mine's rubber. It's fine.
Oh, okay.
It's not real. No, it is real.
You ever had a dream where you like punch somebody underwater?
Yeah.
That's how he throws a punch. Anyways,
Okay.
You're fine.
I got time to dodge.
Yeah.
We said we were going to pick on you.
That's all right. I'm okay with that.
No, but so this or that, and I want to talk to something about that's relative to you. Patrick has some influence in this too, but this or that, Cricut or Silhouette?
Cricut or Cameo? Which one?
I got to go with Silhouette on this one.
Oh, where's the drop? You got like an explosion?
Oh.
I wonder why you're pressing that.
I'm Cricut all the way.
Oh, interesting.
So we'll get into it. What is
Lily,
what is it about Cameo or what is it about Silhouette that you like?
Well, like I mentioned, I had a little bit of graphic design training, so I learned the Adobe Suite, and I think Silhouette Studio is at least more than Cricut Design Space, is similar to that program and was easy for me to kind of figure out the function. Like, I'm pretty sure the divide tool in Silhouette Studio is the same as the divide tool in Adobe Illustrator, or almost. So that was just really simple for me, and I also like that you can really go through and change the speed of your cut setting, like the pressure individually. Cricut was not finite enough for me on the settings.
Okay.
So
more software related is
yeah.
Okay.
I think Cricut does have a couple good things. I mean, I think they do make a really beautiful machine, and it's very nice and quiet.
Yeah.
That is one thing I read.
I'll give her this because I gave you a bad drop before.
Well deserved.
I'll take that.
So Patrick, why Cricut?
I think for me, because I came from the opposite world. I didn't know anything about designing. I didn't know anything about Adobe. I didn't know anything about making anything when I came into this industry. And when we first bought our Cricut, a friend of ours turned us on to the idea of investing in one, and Design Space was just for the entry-level user. And I still get a lot of questions about, Cricut and different things you can do. I felt like that was the easiest to jump right into.
Easier to learn.
I will say this, is that as you start to develop a little bit more, and you're not so much of what we talked about, copywriting, or taking other photos and doing different stuff like that, or it's not just simple one-color design, I slowly have moved over into Silhouette. And I think because it is a little bit more user-friendly. I like the fact that I can just simply copy and paste from Carol Draw. I can copy and paste straight from there into Silhouette, into the Silhouette Design Studio, and it'll start to vectorize my image already for me.
And that's through Silhouette. And by the way, I'm showing my ignorance here. This is not. I'm not there yet with these cutters. I will be soon. So that's the Silhouette software you're talking about with the copy and paste?
Yeah, Design Studio, and then you have Design Space, which is the Cricut version.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like, in actuality, the software side of things from Silhouette is not necessarily more beneficial, but
I do think the Cricut is more user-friendly. Like you said, if you're just coming into it and you're brand new, I totally understand why you went with the Cricut. But if you really want to design your own cut files, if that you think is going to be your passion or what you want to do for your business, just go with Silhouette and just start learning it.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because I was actually talking to Joe earlier, and we both come from a different world initially where when we're talking about craft cutting and stuff like that, this is very new to us, but he said he gravitated towards Silhouette because it was like Adobe too. And we were talking about getting started and this and that and Cricut's ease of use to get yourself enamored into the world.
Yep.
But eventually, hopefully, I'm hoping that your business is going to take off tremendously to where you're going to have to start learning those Adobes and Corels and stuff like that. So I wouldn't necessarily just shy away from Silhouette because of a concern about software.
Right.
Because the end goal is to be super successful, and you're going to have large equipment that you're going to have to run a graphics software.
And I can say there's an early fear, when you get into this stuff, you just don't know where to start. Sure. And so Cricut has made a really cool platform to learn the real basics. But you're right. As you start developing more, as soon as I got here, Brett basically handed me Corel and said, "Hey,
figure it out.
Figure it out. Yeah, figure this out." And then it just slowly became. I was forced to use a Cameo.
Interesting. Well, we actually do have results from a poll. All 30,000 people voted.
330,000.
Actually, I think you have it on your phone.
Yeah, so it's 80% went Silhouette.
Silhouette?
They all went Cameo.
For the
Everybody
win.
went Cameo. I don't understand. I don't have any fans here. That's fine. It's all right. They knew you were coming on, and they wanted to make you feel special and welcome. And
well, they did.
Well, clearly there's a place in the industry for both, right?
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
And I think one of the things you guys had mentioned before was there was a smaller Cricut cutter that you may have been both a little skeptical about.
Oh, yeah.
I think we actually talked about it when we first got it in. We sat it down. It was sitting in the conference room, I remember, and we were all like, the hell is this?
What is this
What do we do with it?
Yeah, because Cameo just went to a bigger size at that time.
Yeah, they just moved up to a 15-inch, and for Cricut to go down to, what is it, like 5.5?
I think it's 4.5 or 5, yeah.
Interesting.
Width-wise, at least, the length was longer, but it was like, wow, these are two totally opposite machines.
Yeah.
They're going definitely different, but I will say now that after using both at home during the pandemic and having to be at home in just my craft area, I understand why they went smaller.
Oh.
Yeah, because once I tried to get the 15-inch up like on my desk space, and I have a big desk, it still was, you had to make room for everything to go through the front and the back. And then taking pictures of it, I had to like move everything out of the way.
Sure.
Oh, really?
So I could, have a nice photo with not all my stuff in the background. The Cricut Joy, I could just set it up right there by the wall, get all kinds of pictures. I could take it downstairs and craft. I could definitely see you traveling with that to your girls' night.
That's
or
cool.
like you said, when hopefully the sporting events are back, you could definitely bring your Cricut Joy.
Yeah,
Awesome.
for sure.
Cool.
We got another segment we're going to bring in. It's Pro Tip. And there's a specific one that I want to talk about because you wrote a poll blog around it, and that's fake layering.
Yes.
So it's anything and everything you want to talk about pro tip with fake layering.
Well, how about
explaining what it is?
I was going to say, what is fake layering?
So fake layering, or, it has some other names. It's also called, knockout method or inset method. There's different ways for it, but really all it is designing your artwork so that each layer of the heat transfer is actually touching the fabric. You're not actually layering the HTV on top of the HTV.
Right.
And that's good to do for a lot of our materials, like the glitter, the holographic.
Well, I know some materials out there, and this is not just Caesar specific, but I know some materials out there that you can't layer. So you have to do like a knockout or an outline, however you want to call that. But talk about some of the benefits of that. So obviously some you just can't, right? But also not everybody probably wants to wear a shield.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, other times, you can layer Easy Weed on top of itself. You can keep going with that, but you're going to get to a point where it's not really that comfortable on your shirt, or you don't like the way it looks anymore when you can see that many layers. And that's what, knockout or fake layering is great for, is just creating a more lightweight, graphic on your shirt that feels better, it lays better on your body. So I really, as much as I can, knock out layers, I do, and that's all stuff you have to do in your graphic software first.
100%. And also too, there's a lot of different ways that you can fake the layering, but also incorporate different media styles too. So like there's some that are thick. You got brick and Easy Weed; those are two completely different thicknesses. But you can have a multi-dimensional or a multi-textured shirt.
Yeah.
With also
and fake layering, usually the way I do it isn't the way it looks like everything's butted up right next to each other. And sometimes they do overlap just slightly. But I think another cool way to do it is to actually leave a larger gap where you get like the color of your T-shirt as like a third accent color in there. And then not only is it more lightweight, but you've got this like third dynamic going on. It's just a fun thing to play around with.
That's a true pro tip right there with that third color with the T-shirt.
Bing, bang, bang.
Yep, there we go.
We really got to make some more drops for some of these.
I was going to say, I'm going to introduce this next segment. It's going to be like, oh, what's your favorite?
Yeah.
No, we need like some sweet music for these things.
What's your favorite?
Yeah.
There we go.
I don't like that one at all. I don't like that.
Got that audio. We're using it. Anyway.
So awesome pro tip, by the way. But the third segment we wanted to introduce today was what's your favorite? And we want to continue to play this with any guest that we have on.
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be Caesar related. It doesn't have to be industry related. We could say, what's your favorite food? I don't know.
Yeah.
But seeing that you are our first guest and we all do work together at Caesar, I have to ask you, what is your favorite Caesar product and why? Ooh. And color. We got to throw color in.
Oh, okay. This is hard because honestly, I like a lot of them. Just not personally, I do.
Yeah.
But I gotta say that the Easy Weed electric line is just so, like, every time I see it, I'm just like, that is cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's
and
awesome.
I would wear that in specific color. This is also showing something else I'm obsessed with, peacocks. So peacock teal.
Yep.
I got to help name that color, and I love that color. It is gorgeous. You can just wrap me up in that.
Awesome. That's awesome. I'm surprised no purple.
I know. But purple and teal. Purple and teal are two of the big ones.
Okay.
So, but yeah, anything purple too. But have you seen that teal though? The peacock teal
Yes.
shine.
It's mind blowing.
Like
I stop and drop my jaw every time I see it.
it's just so pretty.
Oh, don't be condescending.
I'm not. I really do.
All right.
No,
All right.
I actually haven't really seen it, so I that's shameless. plug.
When we go upstairs, I'll show you.
Yeah, we'll take a look because that all actually comes in our. It's not. We don't necessarily have swatches, but it's the product book, correct?
Yeah, our color guide.
Yep, the color guide.
Yeah,
So,
it's pretty in there too.
and you can get that where?
CaesarNA.com.
Boom.
That's what's up. Do you want to plug anything?
You can come watch me and my cat Mimi.
Yeah. Tell
Craft.
everybody when your lives are.
So Instagram Live on the Caesar North America channel every Thursday at noon Eastern Standard Time. You can come check me out there, and we'll do some fun crafting.
Sweet. Well, thank you so much for being our first guest.
Thank
Yes.
you guys for having
This was
me.
fun.
This was fun. Yeah.
This was really good. So if you are looking for any content of ours, we are on YouTube. We are on audio only on Spotify, Podbean. We're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook,
Apple iTunes.
Apple Podcast.
Apple Podcast.
Apple
iTunes.
Yeah, Apple.
Shout out
iTunes,
Apple iTunes.
Knew what you meant.
Google Play Store. Also, pretty exciting stuff. I just submitted all of our stuff to iHeartRadio.
Awesome.
So we'll see
Thanks,
what they
buddy.
say.
Appreciate that.
Listen, I'm taking them down one piece at a time, I think.
Well, hopefully Lily can give us a shameless little plug too.
Just one little
Just a
plug.
little pinch.
Just one little
Just a little
plug.
poke.
Perfect. Anyways,
We'll see. No, I'm kidding.
and but mainly YouTube. Go to YouTube. You can see obviously this great setup that we have, and all of the cool things that we're doing here. If you have any questions about the podcast, always reach out to info@CaesarNA.com for now, or comment through Podbean or any of those other platforms. So that's it.
That's it. I just want to thank Lily again.
Yeah, thank you
Appreciate
so
you
much.
coming
We
on.
appreciate it. All right, that is another one in the books. We love you, everyone, and goodbye.
See ya.